Hello everybody, good evening and welcome back to my channel Network Shark. Today's topic will going to be very exciting, that is DHCP failover. So before going to understand what is DHCP failover, we need to know about what is DHCP. So DHCP is a dynamic host configuration protocol, and this protocol is used to distribute IP address from a DHCP server to DHCP client. To perform this task, we have taken two servers right here in VMware platform. The very first, as you can see, that PDC server is nothing just the primary domain controller, and this one is the member server, right? So I will explain later on what is member server. And for the client purpose, we have taken a very lightweight operating system, as you all know, though, that it's a Windows XP, right? So DHCP is a dynamic host configuration protocol. I have explained already earlier about it. Let me tell you a little bit more about DHCP. So it's basically a UDP type of protocol, and it's not a TCP protocol. You all know that, I hope, the difference between TCP and UDP. TCP is a transmission control protocol and UDP is a user datagram protocol. So the major difference between these two protocol types is TCP used to provide data packet delivery report, and UDP type of protocol doesn't uh, send the acknowledgement to the sender, right? So there are two logical ports which is registered for DHCP protocol. That is, first one is 67 and 68. So DHCP server used to listen through the logical port number 67, and DHCP client used to listen all the queries, all the requests with the help of logical port number 68. So let's get started first, and I will in between I will explain. So parallelly we will do the practical as well as the theory concept. So let's start it. So this, as you can see, I have created already a domain, and this is my domain controller. Name is cisco.com. So I am just trying to logging it. So this is the primary domain controller, and this one is nothing just the member server of primary domain controller. So two servers I have taken to tell you about failover. So I have already told you what is DHCP. Now let me tell you the what is the failover concept. Failover concept is nothing just a backup of the main DHCP server. If the primary DHCP server goes down, then the secondary DNS server will take place, and the client will not going to understand all this. The client will get or receive the IP address from server as usual. Okay, so you can see this is not only one reason of failover. Another reason is the load balancing. So in the primary domain controller, we all know that except DHCP, there are so many servers parallelly used to run. To balance the load, we should configure a secondary DHCP server also, right? So let's start. So let's verify first the IP configuration. ncpa.cpl is the command I'm using here, and as you can see, if I go to properties, and here you can see my IP address is 10.3. So I am right here in member server. Okay, so in member server the IP address is 10.3, and the preferred DNS server is 10.1, and this 10.1 is the IP address of the primary domain controller. If you go to run and cmd type IP config, so you can see 10.1 is the IP address of the primary domain controller. Here, one more thing you should know that let me show you the IP configuration of primary domain also. Here you can see 10.1 is my the primary IP address. Sorry, the primary domain controller's IP address. 10.1 is the DNS and 2 is nothing, just another DNS server which is not right here. So if you remove this one, then also there will no any problem. So okay, so that is the IP configuration for you. And previously I have configured DNS server also and Active Directory, all this already configured. So to verify all this, you just need to go to CMD and type ns lookup. Here you can see the root DC is the host name and cisco.com is the domain and the IP address showing right here. In the member server, I have already given the IP address of primary domain controller in the DNS server, and the secondary doesn't require here. I'm just removing it. So click OK. And here also, if I go to run and type CMD and type ns lookup, you can see it is clearly reflecting. So that so that means that these two PCs are well connected with each other and communicating, right? So now let's go to DHCP server first. So to do so, first of all, I have to download a role. Sorry, I have to add a role right here. Add roles and and next, 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 and here select DHCP, add features, next, 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 and install. So I'm just installing DHCP role. At the same time, I need to add DHCP role here also. So click on manage, add roles, next, 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 add DHCP role, next, 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 and install. So here you can see this is in between. Let me show you something. The role is installing. Accidentally, I have closed this wizard, so we should not close this wizard because the role installation is on the process, on the progress. So it is completely installed, the role. Here it is still under process. Here it is installed. So let me click here the notification, and right here it is telling to configure required of DHCP server, right? So here I need to click complete DHCP configuration. Now click on next, and here you can see the authorization part, this one. So here you need to just verify your credential, that is Cisco. As administrator, I am running on the NetBIOS, name is Cisco in capital, and alternate I don't have anything. So nothing you need to do here, right here. You just need to click on commit. And here you can see the create security groups is done and authorize DHCP server. Authorizing power portion is also done. Now close it. So so DHCP is absolutely installed, not yet configured, but installed. The role part also already, just the role part. So here, let me tell you one more thing. In the member server, you can see that. Let me bring the icon first. Desktop icon setting. Okay, close. Here you can see what I have done earlier. for verification purpose, I'm showing you this advanced system settings and go to computer name. Here you can see that it's a part of cisco.com, and here I have added domain. That's it. That's it. That is the only configuration I have made. I didn't configure any domain ADDS related configuration. Okay. So here you can see I have not configured. I have not just I have added roles ADDS. So I have not yet promoted. See, the promote is under process. It's not yet promoted as a domain controller or active or primary or secondary or RODC, nothing. See, now I'm just closing it and we need to configure DHCP now. To do so, I'm just clicking on tools. I am in primary domain controller. Click on DHCP, and here you can see this is the role we have installed. So what I have told you earlier that DHCP used to provide IP address, right? So that the other client machines will automatically get IP. So here you can see I'm just right clicking it and clicking let me create a scope first. So just I'm right clicking and I am configuring a new scope. Next, scope 1, any name you can give. So my network is 192.168.10. So okay. So here the range I have to give should have been the same network, right? So one is my IP address. I mean my means primary domain controller IP address, and the member server IP address is 3, I guess, right? So here I'm giving 192.168.10.4 to 192.168.10.50. Okay. So clicking on next. Excluded part, that means in between, if you don't want to give IP address, or you can if you want to reserve the IPs, you can write it down. So for my case, I'm not adding any IP address which is in exclusion. So here by default the DHCP lease duration is 8 days. So I'm just clicking on next and next. If you have any router here in your network, so you can give the IP address of your router as a default gateway. So for my case, I didn't have anything. I'm just leaving it blank. So after clicking next, you can see the IP address of my PC's IP. Here you can see this is primary domain controller IP address and this is domain name. So clicking on next, Win server doesn't need to configure. Yes, I want to activate this scope now and finish. See the scope, you can see in the address pool, you can see everything is fine, perfectly working. So I just need to do one thing, right click, and you need to click on right here. Sorry, just click right here and you need to authorize it. So once you authorize it, refresh, you can see it is now in active. It is now in active mode, right? So this is just nothing, just a basic DHCP configuration. But our topic is DHCP failover. So before going to configure DHCP failover right here, let let take a look in member server DHCP role also. Just click on tools DHCP, and here you can see that I have already added a scope. Sorry, there is nothing scope here. You can see it is absolutely blank, no scope, no ranges, nothing came here. You can see, right? So these all are blank, and the fully qualified name of this server is server2.cisco.com member server. And here you can see the scope is reflecting, but here nothing. So to configure failover, first of all, what I have to do, nothing. It's very simple. You just need to click over IP version 4 and you need to click here configure failover. So you can see the local network is reflecting. Clicking on next, and you can, and in this option here it is asking you that just define the name or IP address right here. Who will be the partner? I mean, your secondary DHCP server IP address is telling. The partner server means the secondary DHCP server. So you need to click on add. Here you can see it is reflecting server 2 cisco.com. It is reflecting. The reason behind it is previously I have for my practice purpose I have done this practical several times, or my classes purpose I have already done these things before. That is the reason why it is reflecting. For your case, this thing might not been reflected. Okay, if you didn't find the secondary server right here, for your case you need to click on browse, advanced, and click on find now. And here, from here, you need to select this thing. Okay, the secondary DHCP server will reflecting right here. So you need to click on here and click OK. Okay, so it is showing. So, or for my case, I can do one thing. As it is reflecting, so I will select here. For your case, if you do select this and go to OK, click on OK, then also it will reflect. For my case, I'm just clicking here server2.cisco.com, or let's do one thing. Let's go your way. Let me click here server2 and I'm clicking on OK instead of selecting this thing. Okay, here you can see the fully qualified domain name is clearly reflecting. That is the member server name. Here you can see server2 cisco.com. That thing is reflecting. Done. So here reuse existing failover relationship configuration with this server. Previously, I have already done this thing. So it is telling that would you like to reuse it? No, I will configure again. That is the relationship name showing here. You can change it or leave it like that. The load balancing and hot standby. These two things are the method of failover. Load balancing means whatever scope you have created in the primary domain that equally divided with member server also. That means 50% will carry this server and another 50% will carry this server. You can change this percentage also, like 70-30 also you can give as per your choice. You can modify it. Okay. So that is the load balancing part. And another one is hot standby. Hot standby means, as you can see, hot standby means if this server goes down, then the secondary DHCP server will take place. Okay. So for our case, we will going to select hot standby. Okay. Uh, this part is very easy actually, load balancing. So uh, for our case, we will go with hot standby. Okay, and it will be in standby mode. The partner server will be in standby mode. Whenever the primary DHCP server goes down, the secondary DNS server will be act as a primary. Okay, so for everything, let we are not going to change anything here. If you change, then also there will not be any problem. So the state switchover interval is 60 minutes. That is the by default. State switchover interval means if the primary goes down, primary server, then the time it will take the member server to take place, switchover part. So we are not going to change this thing. Enable message authentication. This will remain active. And I'm just typing 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, nothing. You can type anything here, 6 or 7 8 9. No issue. Now alphanumeric also will be accepted here. And maximum client lead time means, here you can see 1 hour is by default given, but it if you change this thing, then also there will be no any problem. So clicking on next and finish, you can see the configuration is the failover configuration is absolutely successful. So close it and let's verify the configuration. You just click right here, go to properties, failover, and you can see these two things are reflecting, the first one and the second one. As I told you earlier that these things already I have configured on one time. So that is the reason why two entries are showing. For your case, there will be one entry. Okay, so I'm just stopping it. You just right click into the scope, go to properties, here failover, see the partner server name, the mode, and the role for this server. Everything is fine. Here you can see in the member server, if you clicking on refresh, and here you can click, you can see that the scope is reflecting here automatically. The whatever scope we have configured in the primary DC, same scope reflecting right here. Okay. For your case, if you perform this task for the very first time, maybe this tick mark will turn into down arrow red. Okay. To do so, you just need to do one thing. Do one thing. Just right click here and clicking on replicate relationship. Okay. Same thing. Just right click here. Same task you have to perform here also. Replicate relationship. Okay. Click on OK. And here also click on OK. So basically what it is performing, the failover scope configuration been replicated between these two servers, right? It is done and here also done. Then do one thing in the member server. If you are performing this task for the very first time, just right click here and make it authorize. For your case, this might be authorized showing, will show right here. So click on authorize. So once it is done, if you refresh it, then automatically it will activate. So let's verify it. Everything is done. So now move to the client operating system. Just right click here, go to properties, right click, properties. So as you can see that there is no any manual IP I have given. Okay. So let me verify first. Let's do one thing. Let's go to run, type cmd and type IP. Do one thing, IP config space slash release. So I am just doing releasing my IP address, IP config. I have made a mistake. Instead of F, I should write R. See, I am just released my IP address. So I just want to get my IP back. So I need to type renew. So DORA process is going on, right? See, I have received 192.168.10.4 from cisco.com, right? So now the question is, who is providing me this IP? The primary domain controller or the member server? So let's verify here. Go to status, go to support, go to details, and you can see the DHCP server is 192.168.10.1. So primary domain controller is basically providing me 10.1 is the IP address of the primary domain. If you click on CMD and type IP config, and you can see this is the IP address of this server. So what we are going to do now, by we are just going to suspend this operating system. So I'm going to power and clicking on suspend guest. So I'm just suspending it or maybe shutdowning it. So basically I'm just stopping this server. So this server is totally stopped. As you can see, it is stopped, right? And member server is still active. So now I'm going back again here and closing it. I'm just releasing my IP address, whatever IP I'm getting. I am just clicking on release. So I have released the old IP. Now let's click on, let's type the IP config slash renew, this one. So click on and then press enter. So once it is done, see, I am getting the same IP, but if you click on status and click on support, click on details, you can see this time the DHCP server is changed. The primary domain controller providing me first, maybe some due to some disaster or due to some technical problem, this server is unavailable, but the client is getting IP. The server is changed. So that is the power of DHCP failover. So DHCP failover means in the absence of one DHCP server, another DHCP server is working and providing IP to the clients. Okay. So I hope you like this video, and I will recommend my all students who will be watching this video, do this practical right whenever you got time, as soon as possible do this practical. And to perform this task, I have taken VMware workstation. For your case, if you comfortable with VirtualBox, Oracle VirtualBox, you can go with Oracle VirtualBox or VMware install, and at least take 3 operating system to perform this, 2 servers and 1 client. Okay. So this is not a client basically. If you click on network, sorry, this PC properties, to perform this task, you don't have to be a member of your domain. It's just a IP. IP we are receiving it. It's a dynamic way of IP receiving. So you can see it's in workgroup mode. Okay, fine. So thank you so much. If you like this video, use the comment section and write it down. That's I like this video, and clicking, and if you and click on like button. Thank you. Bye.